What's up, world? It's your boy DJ Wicked Trill, coming from you live in Detroit, Michigan. Right here, this segment is called Dropping Jewels, presented to you by the Global Network. And this is a global video blast. I hope you enjoy it, boy. This is definitely some knowledge I need to get into your system, man. Check it out.
This is not your normal lecture on hip-hop. We are going into a more metaphysical, spiritual, philosophical approach to hip-hop. It's more controversial, I must say, at the beginning of this. I don't mean to offend anyone at all, but there's the door.
You see, one for the trouble, two for the time. Come on, y'all, let's rock that. KRS-One, 20 years I rock. I do it for JMJ and Scott LaRock. This hip-hop, and we's a nation. Don't you want to hear more KRS on your radio station? The solution is to gain economic power and then turn that economics into knowledge reigns supreme over nearly everybody. Call up KRS, guaranteed to rip a party. Black top braids, more heads, or Nazi dread. There once was a story about a man named Jed, but now Jed is dead. All his kids instead wanna kick bombs up the top of their head. Word, we'll go around.
The teacher, KRS-One.
Well now, the day has finally come. Let's go right into it now. Hip-hop. What makes you a hip-hop scholar? Some subjects you can study objectively. You can look at something, observe it, and then form a hypothesis based on your observations. But cultural knowledge is never objective. You can't look at a culture and say, I know what it is. Or to be more accurate, you can't eat a slice of pizza, then say, I'm an expert on Italian culture. Or most people say, well, because I had a plate of spaghetti and meatballs, I can tell you about Italy. This is what is happening with hip-hop. This is what happened with scholarship, period. But this was happening with hip-hop's particular scholarship. People who are not the culture are teaching you the culture. This is the beginning of what needs to stop.
We have Blastmaster KRS-One. How many y'all got criminal minded? You, y'all, don't be blinded. Me, I got no jewels on my neck. Why? I don't need them. I got your respect.
What makes you a hip-hop scholar? I am hip-hop. Not, I've read 10 books. I've been to the concert. I rapped in the studio. No! You are it itself. First, get the feeling.
There you go.
Get the feeling first. What makes you a hip-hop scholar? I am the culture. That's it. Now that I am the culture, there's no external knowledge for me to go get. I'm the knowledge. I'm it. When I lift my arm, that's what hip-hop does. If I walk over here and stand over here, this is where hip-hop has just stood. If I leave this table, a chair, and come over here, hip-hop just left from here. This is now also hip-hop history. I just created it. This is recording me. Everything's recording right now. My man got a camera going. History is being made right now.
Oh man, this is human education against lies. You better know the flavor, kid. Human education against lies tries to open the eyes of humanity before it dies. fight ain't the real fight. That's the only thing the media hype.
Monday come around, Monday morning say, I am hip hop on Sunday. Monday come around, I'm not hip hop no more. What are you now? Well, I'm an employee for Mr. Charlie. I work at CZZ Fabrics and I work here. What do you mean I? You just said I was hip hop. You said I am hip hop. Now, Monday come and that same I is now something else. The second part to being a hip hop scholar is to be hip hop all the time. Come back again. Just give you a moment to think. You gotta take these in. You gotta take them in. You're hip hop all the time. 24 hours, 7 days a week. You are hip hop. And that's hard to do. That's hard. I have fun with it myself. But I'm privileged to have fun with it. It wasn't no fun thing in the beginning. In the early days, before the celebrity and the hot records, and now, back in the 70s when we said, I'm hip hop, and the cops was like, no, you're not. Hands behind your back. Let's go.
We ran there with the boys in blue, pointing their guns at my 4-man crew. They shot down one, they shot down two. Now tell me what the fuck am I supposed to do?
This is a whole different time. I am hip hop and I'm hip hop all the time. So many people went to jail just on that attitude. So many people got beat, hurt, unjustly accused, inconvenienced in the court and the legal system just because they said, I'm gonna be hip hop right now. I know nobody else here is, but I'm going to be this right now. What a hard thing to do. And anybody who does that is a true hip hop scholar. Anybody who can claim in their history that there was a time when hip hop was not popular and I was repping it to the fullest before it was popular. That is a hip hop scholar. Not just an artist or a dancer and these are great too. Don't belittle dance and art either. But scholarship is a little more than celebrity or your talent, skill. It's about how you think. It's about how you're going to approach you. How do you approach you? Do you have the courage to even be you? This is what it means to be a hip-hop scholar all the time. Well, you got to have courage to be a hip-hop scholar all the time. Mr. Charlie's looking for his work. You don't have the work because you was out DJing till 4 in the morning and you had to be at work at 8:30. Now you're there, you don't have what Mr. Charlie needs. Do you stand up at that moment and say, I am hip hop. That's why I'm incomplete. Or do you say, oh, Mr. Charlie, I'll have that paper ready before lunchtime. Don't worry about it. Please, Mr. Charlie, don't, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Charlie.
I'm not saying that it's right to destroy. We should be living in a national joy. But all these laws are so hypocritical. You follow one and the other one is dissing you. So what do you do to keep in line? I tell you right now, it's an educated mind because I'm up to date. I am up to date.
Public education doesn't inspire you because it's not meant to. It's meant to de-inspire. Really, public education is for you to respond reflexively to authority. That's it. That's the purpose of public education. Just summed up 12 years for you right there.
There you go.
Public education. When I say jump, you say how high. That's it. Nothing about your culture. Nothing about the cultures you see every day in society. Nothing about law, medicine. Nothing about any. These things are more important for you to know than any historical figure of your country. There's no reason to know the history of your country. I know that sounds crazy. I told you I was going to offend some people. This is where it starts right here. What do you need to know the history of your country for? There's no reason. You are the history of your country. Modern day history right now. Your grandmother can tell you more about your country than any book written ever. This is who you should be talking to. This is who you should be getting your knowledge from. Knowing about this guy invaded this, and this is the king of that, and the queen of this, and this is useless information. Useless. And your brain is shoved with this, stuffed with this for 15, 20 years. After a while, you don't know who you are. You think you're Queen Elizabeth. This is what is called insanity. This is insanity, but it's called sanity. Because if you could quote the history of the Dutch, for instance, and the Dutch did this and the Dutch did that, you're considered sane, civil, educated. But what you're actually studying is useless. Useless. Now, I say this. I say this. I say this respectfully. I gotta say this respectfully. Okay? Of course you need to know Dutch history. Let me say that for the record as well. We all should know something about the lands in which we live. My point is, when you put that knowledge against self-knowledge, cultural knowledge, inner being knowledge, this knowledge just does not hold up anymore. Just doesn't hold up. What you need is courage to be you. You need a reason and a right to stand on for you to be you. That's what hip-hop is.
Everybody's bad, everybody's tough, but how many people are intelligent enough to open up their eyes and see through the lies, discipline themselves, yourself to stay alive? Not many. That's why the universe sent me today on this stage with this to say.
Every urban area on the planet Earth is governed by hip-hop. Is it? Go to any urban area. What's cool about the area, what makes the area look like an area, what the people are listening to, what the people are trusting each other with is hip-hop. Doesn't matter what race, ethnicity, age, class, doesn't matter. You go to India, they have a caste system, at least the Hindus have a caste system. All the castes are into hip-hop. Pakistan, hip-hop. Muslim, hip-hop. Christian, hip-hop. Jews, hip-hop. There's a group called DAM, D-A-M, that has an Israeli DJ or Palestinian MC. Their country hates them. They can't even leave the country. They're stuck. They got to record one half of the album in somewhere, in Palestinian land, and then try to send it over to the Israeli side to finish it up. This is what hip hop is doing in an area where the adults can't seem to get it together. The adults are talking, the Israeli this and Palestinian that. The Palestinians don't want peace. The Israelis don't want peace. This one don't want. But the kids already got together, already figured it out. It's called hip hop, and here's what we doing: sing, 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 sing. So my man jumped up, and this is it. We already figured it out. Every urban environment you're gonna go to on the planet Earth, what the people are trusting is hip-hop.
Look, you don't need to be guessing. You don't need to be stressing. The Obama deception was just one lesson. The military got all kind of weapons, and most of them are aimed at us from different directions. You looking at the same look. You protesting their guns, but you're using a Facebook. You don't get it yet? The American military captured the world with an internet.
They're going to keep the facade going. I was just talking about how the EU here in Europe, the EU has collapsed. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the collapse of the entire European Union. The European Union is over. Collapsed, finished, done. The euro has collapsed, finished, done, along with the American dollar. Done! But because we're all walking around with past knowledge, this is the only reason these people are still in power, is because we believe. The only reason these people are in power is because we believe. person get a whole army to go fight? You imagine something, how does one guy sitting behind a desk go, we're going to go to war? This guy never goes to war. The one claiming war never be the first one on the horse leading the way. Never. We're going to war. And who goes to war? Hip-hop. That's who goes to war. You look at any of these. Look at your army. Look at the U.S. Army. Look at the UN Army. Everyone in it, young folks blasting hip-hop. In the tanks, hip-hop. In the planes, hip-hop. Hip-hop. And what's happening? We getting our minds snatched. They didn't want to be in a war. You ask any one of them Iraqi soldiers from anybody's country, why are you here? None of them are going to say, because I just want to kill Iraqis. None of them are going to say that. They're going to say, yo, I was trying to go to college. I was trying to send money back to my kid. I thought I could get a skill doing this. All of a sudden, now I'm in this mountain with a gun. The soldiers are not there fighting for some cause. They're trapped. They signed a bad contract and now they're out there. That's the truth. But we're not getting the truth because we're afraid of the truth. Because to even see the truth, you have to be your true self. You can't even see the truth unless you're true. But if you're not going to be true to yourself, then seeing the truth is impossible. You have to be truth to see truth. What makes you a hip-hop scholar? What makes you a hip-hop scholar is the fact that you can be hip-hop all the time. All the time. You can be it all the time. And that means you're going to lose your job. That means you might have a different relationship with your family. Maybe. You find sometimes when you stand up for yourself, the ones that love you stand with you. But as long as you was front, they was front. As long as you didn't know, they didn't know. But the minute you go, I know, you'd be surprised. Your family would be like, well, I know too. Yeah. Sometimes we judge too quickly. My pops will never be into this. My moms don't understand that. You'd be surprised what your family understands and don't understand. But you have the real courage because you may lose your family, them not understanding. You may lose that job. You may wind up in prison. What if an angel came?
Self-destruction, get out of my self-destruction. Self-destruction, get out of my self-destruction.
What if an angel came and you was praying, you said, I want to be the greatest DJ ever. I'm going to be the greatest DJ ever. And you prayed on it. Then an angel appeared right there. Boom, right there. Here I am. What's your problem? I want to be the greatest DJ ever. Then the angel says, now look, you're going to be the greatest DJ ever, but I want to show you how you're going to get there. First, when you walk out this house, you're going to get shot in your leg. What? You're not going to die. You're just going to get shot in the leg one time. What do you mean? You're not going to die. You just have to take the pain of this shot in the leg. You're going to heal. And after that, when you walk outside, you're going to get hit by a car. You're not going to die. But the guy that hit you is going to be your record producer. That person's going to feel so guilty, they're going to make the greatest record for you ever, and that's how you're going to become a DJ. Now the dream falls, and now you're left with a decision. If you knew that you was going to get shot in the leg and ran over by a car, but that was going to be what made you a star, celebrity, successful DJ, would you still do it? You're going to get shot in the leg. You know this. You're going to walk outside and a car going to hit you. You know that. But in the end, you're going to get what you want. Would you go? This is the question right here that you got to ask yourself. Because most people, it doesn't matter. This is not a right or wrong. There's no morality to this. This is an issue of character. Character. Who are you? Who are you? Yeah, I'll take that shot to the leg. I don't want to get ran over by no car, but I will take the shot trying to avoid the car. I don't want the car, but I will take the shot. Who are you? The reason I bring this out is because this is why many people don't make it. They don't make it because they know they're going to get shot in the leg and ran over by a car. So they say, well, I can't even see my success. That ain't gonna happen for me. So I'll just stay here with Mr. Charlie. Because I don't want that shot in the leg. I don't want to get ran over by a car. Okay, Mr. Charlie, what are you doing? This is how we're living every day, just like this. The minute you say, I'm going to get rich or I'm going to die trying. Ooh. Yeah, that's that line, isn't it? I'm going to get rich or I'm going to die trying. I'm going to get where I'm going to go. I'm going to be dead in the street. Once you get that attitude, you become successful right from what you say. People didn't like how 50 said it. So let me give you somebody else in history. Give me liberty or give me death. Get rich or die trying. I'm going to die on my principles. All of it's the same thing. If you're afraid of pain and suffering, you'll never be anything in life. You'll never be anything. Most people today, 99% to be exact, don't want no pain in their life. Don't want no suffering in their life. So they don't get what comes after that. We all look at the celebrity, and the celebrity says, you know, he's celebrity or she's celebrity. But just before you say, I'd like to be like that, first get their biography. I guarantee you read anybody that you admire, anybody that you say, I would like to pattern my life like that. I would like to arrive at that level of success for myself. Read any of their stories. You are not going to want to go through what they went through to get there. Read any of the stories. Well, first thing, my mother died. I was close to my mother. Are you ready for that? Are you ready to sacrifice your moms for your career? And I mean sacrifice her. The angel comes and says, yo, moms has to die for you. And you go away to the room again. Messed up. Yes, for you to be a DJ, your mother has to perish. And your mom's the only one here with you, the only one holding you down. This is what it is. She got to go for you to be a DJ. Would you do it? Most people say, hell no. I'll just sit here. Mom's is staying with me. That's why nobody's making it. If you're prepared for your mother to go, your children to go, you can be a celebrity. If you're prepared to give up that job, give up that whatever you believe is the authority and make yourself the authority. Man. If you're willing to believe in yourself, the courage of that is that you may have to lose everything around you to get it. My body is trapped in time and in physical space. But hip-hop is an idea. You can't wear hip-hop. You can't put it on. You can't buy a can of hip-hop. You can't drink something and suddenly become hip-hop. Now, I bring this into the part where it says hip-hop scholarship because the study of hip-hop is not only inspiring, but it's transforming. It's self-transforming. This is culture. So when you're studying culture, you yourself are changing. Your parents might not understand you. Your friends, your students, other employees, they may not understand you because you're studying something different from what they're studying. So the last part to this discussion of being a hip-hop scholar, the last piece to this, one of the things that even come before courage is love. If you love hip-hop, love will figure all that out. The angel comes and says, to be a DJ, your pops is going to have to go to jail for 20 years. You'll grow up without a father. Your mother may go crazy over the issue. But are you willing for your mother to be in the insane asylum and your father to be gone 20 years, but you will become that DJ you wanted to become? Now you got to sit back and say, do I love this enough? Do I love this more than my mom's? Do I love this more than my dad? Do I love my dad more than this? Where's my heart? Ooh, where's the heart? Where does it really lie? Because the study of hip hop will show you that you love your mother more than hip hop, and that's good. The study of hip hop will show you that you love hip hop more than your mom's, and that's good. The study of hip hop will show you you never needed that job. That's good. Or you do need that job. That's good. But the study of hip hop is going to bring the real you out. The real you is going to have to answer some real questions that deal with the nature of your soul. Not whether you can rap. Rap that's the effect. We'll get to that later. We talking hip hop for real. Before we even was able to rap, we had to answer these questions first. The angel came. Hip hop, you guys will be the greatest ever, but Tupac, Biggie, Scott LaRock, Big L, Big Pun, Easy E, Freaky Ty, Heavy D, la la la. They all gotta go. Had the angel came to us in 87 and said, listen, KRS, you'll be the greatest MC ever. But Scott LaRock gotta go. I don't know what I would have said. I'm just bringing that to show you the harshness of the question. I don't know what I probably would not be here right now. If the angel came right now, or then, in 87, and said, look, this guy right here, he gonna get shot and killed, but his death is gonna propel your career. What you gonna do? If the angel came to me, I wouldn't be KRS, because there's no way I'm gonna put another man out like that. Nope. My principles won't allow it, so there'll be no KRS. That's it. Just that quick, just that simple, just like that. And this is the part to the scholarship right here. Don't think about the stars that you do see. Think about the ones that you don't see. The decisions that they had to make. They said, no, I'm not giving up my people. I'll sit here. I'm the greatest MC, but no one will ever know because I refuse to work for MTV. I refuse to give my video to BET. I refuse to be on this sellout radio station. So now you're not heard. Now you're not heard. You're not heard. While the person who says, but wait, Master Charlie, I'll do it. Wait, Master Charlie, I'll dance for you. So here comes the scholarship. First, you got to change your consciousness. How you looking at hip hop? How am I looking at it? Am I looking at it through the eyes of MTV? Or am I looking at it through its own eyes, which is me? I'm looking at it as me. I'm looking at the mirror, basically. I'm looking at the mirror. Or am I looking through MTV's eyes? Now, we already know the difference in that. But here's the scholarship on it, which is important. If you're trained by a murderer, chances are you'll be good at murder. You may not know it. But if you're trained by a murderer, you're going to get murder techniques. Even if you're studying math. The murderer is teaching math. You're going to learn how to kill them numbers. If you're studying with a liar, a deceitful person, you're going to learn how to bend the facts. And even if you're studying chef, you're studying culinary arts, you're a chef, but you're studying under a liar, someone who themselves is a deceiver. You watch the person lie all the time, but this person's going to teach you how to cook. So they teach you how to cook with the lie in it. Oh, this is not really salt. This is not really sugar. This is. Well, it smells like coffee, but it's really. So you get these little techniques because the character of the person is basically what it is. Well, when it comes to scholarship, if you're trained by a colonizer and an invader, everything you learn has the colonizer and the invader's way can you learn according to the character of your teacher. Just get the information. You get the teacher's character too. Now, I mentioned this because this is that part of scholarship that many people can't go to because it's brutal. But I know you can handle it, and so here it is. All, damn, did I say that evil word, all? I'm generalizing. It's something you never do in scholarship. All of public education in the Western Hemisphere is a lie. All of it. All. A-L-L. All. Every. All. Okay? All of it is a lie.
The only solution is organized revolution. That's the only solution. But people are afraid of that word revolution, so we like to use the word change. If you like change, you have to go out. There's two types of people in the world. People who will wait for the violence to stop, or people who want to stop the violence.
I could say trained by a corporation or trained by culture. In the book, it's Western education versus everyone else's model. Or Eurocentric education versus everyone else's model. We don't need those words. The more accurate word is cultural and corporate. This is the word. This is the better word to use because all Europeans, like for instance, all the Dutch did not enslave Africans. That's a lie. In fact, the Portuguese, that actually came from Portugal, the first Portuguese were actually just trading with Africans and really had a robust trade going on for like 200 years. See, we're in 2013, so 200 years, like, oh, 2 days. No. Try to imagine what 200 years is like. Okay? The Portuguese, the Dutch, all of these Europeans were actually trading with Africa and doing good business. Good business. It's the Dutch, the Portuguese, the French, the English, and the Spanish that came after. Like 100 years after, 200 years after, that started the history that we all know of today. Europeans keep invading Europeans. This is European history, this landmass that we're on. One guy rises up and another one wants what he got, kills him, then someone else wants what they got. This is European history. One guy knocks off, another guy knocks off, another guy. France with England, England with this, with Spain, Portugal, everybody fighting over the riches coming in from Africa.
There you go.
Everybody want a dice of Africa.
Amen.
Everybody want a piece of Africa, including the African herself.
There you go.
Everybody want a piece. Now look at the history you're studying. Look at the nature of your teacher. The nature of the teacher that we're learning. Public education, corporate education. Invade, colonize, settle on places that are not yours. And learn objectively. Those are the natives. We are the whoever's.
If you want a better school system, ban it. You'll see how quick they'll just switch around. They'll cater to you very quickly. The dollar is a very important tool here in America.
Oh yeah, yeah. You got to come back again.
Now, when settlers came and first saw great civilizations in full swing, they were first in awe of it. First, everybody writing their diary. It was in all these great civilizations. They came out, they gave us gold. They gave us rubies, pearls, so they just gave it to us. They fed us, they clothed us, then we robbed them. You're not hearing the history. They gave us everything. But that wasn't enough. We had to now go and rob and subjugate the people who are giving you something. Now, those people are now learning public education. Your ancestors got public education. Public education is, you remember how you used to go over to the palm tree And you used to go up to the palm tree. You used to know how to climb the palm tree, get up there. You knew what coconuts to get, what bananas to get. You knew it all. Now, you don't know any of it.
There you go.
None of it. You are a natural human being. Natural. You are a human. You are natural to the earth. You're created by the earth. But if somebody dropped you in a forest right now, you'd die in 2 days. That's scientific, by the way. You have 48 hours to live. Drop any modernized human in a forest, and not a jungle where there's real animals walking around. You done in 2 hours. In a forest, just a forest. Okay, they got stuff walking around the forest, but you can live in a forest. You can get up in a tree in a forest. There's lakes and streams in a forest. You got 48 hours, maybe 3 days. As a living, breathing human being. This is public school education that takes your reality and puts it in their world.
Matrix.
Don't go there yet. Stay plugged. The reality, and I want you to see this, I gotta go slow. Your reality, what you perceive as what's possible, what is possible for you, your reality is based on colonizers and beings.
He knew they had armor, guns, and speed, so he arrived in the Aztec year one read. That's the year Quetzalcoatl was prophesied to return from exile. In fact, Cortez played out the Aztec myth and took away those people's will to resist. Cortez played on religious beliefs and blinded the Aztecs because he was a thief.
You are all familiar with Lil Wayne, Drake, everybody. Why? Okay, you are familiar with Wu-Tang and Pharoah Monch. Why do you need to know of any American artist in your country? Just stop there. Just think about this one. What do you need to know of KRS One? You're in an entirely different country. You speak another language. You got the culture right here. You got hip hop on you right here. But for some reason, you need to know about KRS One, Public Enemy. This is American indoctrination. Don't let America through hip hop take your mind. A true hip hop scholar is not interested in KRS One. A true hip hop scholar is interested in themselves. I am from here. This is where I'm from. I'm gonna talk Dutch, and I'm gonna rap in Dutch. And as a matter of fact, I'm gonna show you a Dutch version of cutting, mixing, and scratching, and really try to bring it new. Try to get into some international something, the DMC, something where other nations are around. They go, now watch the Dutch get down. This is how we do it. What honor you bring to your people. What honor you bring to yourself. And then others around the world get to look and be like, wow, that Dutch shit is hot. Yo, look how he breaks. Look how she's going down. Look at their rhymes. Yo, I need to take that back to Brooklyn. Yo, look how the Dutch doing it. Yo, we need to go to Miami with that. Yo, look how the Dutch doing it. Yo, me here in Hong Kong, I can feel that. But as long as we are all saying, well, Nicki Minaj did it that way, so that's the way I'm going to do it. Oh, well, KRS, he did it this way, so that's the way I'm going to do it. Africa Man Butter, Public Enemy. No. You got it wrong. You got it twisted. Sure. A good study of KRS's history is fascinating. You should get yourselves a copy of that history. But when we're talking scholarship, to know my history before you know yours, just take that in. To know my history before you know your own history, you're going right back to the colonizers' way of thinking. Hip-hop don't need that. We don't speak in language. We speak in art. I know exactly what you're saying if you go like this. Grab the steel. Yeah. I know exactly what you mean. I ain't got to speak Dutch. You ain't got to speak English. We ain't got to speak Korean. Grab this. Get on your back. Get that wall. I know exactly what you're saying and we can communicate.
Yes, gather round, turn your TVs on. Back on the scene, it's me, masterful MC, and now you'll see. Oh man, them rappers can't hang with me. Knowledge reigns supreme. If you don't know what that means, you must enter the temple. Open your mental, learn the essentials. Don't be afraid to dream.
You don't want to bring your culture from somewhere else to this culture and say, now you guys got to talk like me, dress like me, act like me for me to understand you. That's the thinking of a colonizer. That's the thinking of someone who invades something and don't care about where they are. They don't try to blend in. They don't have no respect for where they are. They just want to exploit and use. So if you just want to exploit and use people, you get somebody to say, look, I'm not interested in learning Dutch. Just tell me what they're saying in English. Oh, well, you're not even interested in where you are. Now, there's a bunch of so-called rappers that come to the country and do just that. And this is the difference between hip-hop scholarship and every other scholarship that I can think of. I don't know anyone, any scholars that approach people the way hip-hop approaches people. We have a unique way of uniting with people. We don't just come and say, you gotta be like me. We just come and say, what do? I'm a B-boy. Right there. So I know what you're doing. I know the dopest of your group, and I know the wackest of your group. Where do you fit in? Not, what are you? You black. You white. You this, you that. That doesn't even exist in hip hop. I say it all the time. The only place that you see Dr. King, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., the only place you see Dr. King's speech, the I Have a Dream speech, is in hip hop. Americans are always, Dr. King. There ain't nowhere in America Dr. King dream is. Nowhere in the United States. And I will challenge the world on that too. Nowhere in the world do you see this part where my children will one day grow up in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. That's nowhere on the globe. Nowhere. The only place you see that actually happening, like actually going on culturally, is in hip hop. This is the only place in the world. See, you got to understand these new facts. This is not my opinion. These are the facts. Nowhere in the world do you see Dr. King's I Have a Dream speech where you're not really judged by the color of your skin. You're judged by the content of your character. That's all hip hop. That's all hip hop. Now, everybody, Africans got problems. Asians, Latinos, Native, you go to any race, any culture, any ethnicity, they all got problems with each other. Ain't nobody looking at anybody based on the content of their character. No race. No one. The only place on earth that you see a culture, world culture, people doing the same things wherever they are, and not judging people based on color, but based on the level of your skill in these elements. I was at the BBC a couple of years ago, not the BBC, sorry, the BC One, Red Bull's BC One, which is a breaking competition they have every year. And I was amazed. I felt so good in that place. It was Red Bull. But here, the B-boy competition, B-boys from Africa, Japan, China, Australia, America, the Bahamas, they had everybody there. And this dude from France, a dude named Lilu, jumped up, took everybody. Everybody, and other people was just looking like, yeah, that's hot. Yeah, that was it. You know, giving him the respect because he was truly the one that captured everybody's soul at that moment, at that particular competition. And I was judging, I was hosting that competition, but I got a chance to see hip hop in its finer state through b-boying. Here you have every culture competing in one art form. And it just so happens that this guy from France, was the fake? What do you think? Africa was mad? Hell no, they were studying the moves. You think China and Japan was mad? No, they came up, gave a pound, wanted to take a picture with the champion. And this was the spirit of it. Everybody was dope. Everybody was a master at what they did. To even get up on that stage, you had to be somebody. But it just happened to be Lilu from France took it. This is hip hop. This is what it really is.
Throughout the years, a b-boy became a bad boy on another level, because the term b-boy began to go to everybody in the hip-hop community that felt as though that in order to maintain strength in the community, we had to show ourselves as hardcore. And a lot of us, the half that was trying to survive, got caught up in the bad boy life.
What we were just talking about is hip-hop scholarship. I just want to get out the way. What is a hip-hop scholar? How do you think as a hip-hop scholar? First, you don't think like a colonizer. You don't think like someone who's invading cultures and then studying them objectively. Any culture you enter, you try to become the culture. You're hip-hop all the time. To be a hip-hop scholar, you have the courage to be hip-hop all the time. This is what you rep. It's like a doctor who finished medical school, but because the society doesn't like medicine, then he says, well, I'm not a doctor today. I'll be whatever you need me to be. But you are a doctor all the time. You study medicine. You love medicine. You heal people. This is what you do. But just imagine the society says, well, medicine is not it. It's only going to last 3 more years. And you a medical doctor, so somebody's sick on the side, you just say, well, right now I'm lifting boxes for Mr. Charlie. Man, get hit over the head with a box. You a doctor. Oh, I just can't. People don't like doctors around here, so just go ahead and bleed to death. Go ahead with Mr. Charlie. And you bleed. That's what we're doing as hip-hop scholars, if there are any. This is what we're doing. We see the injustice in society, but because we're working for Mr. Charlie, we don't talk like hip-hoppers in the university, at the job, on the radio, in front of the television, whatever it is. We're not talking like that. We're hip-hop only when KRS comes, or when Wu-Tang is giving that concert, or when so-and-so, blah. You can't call yourself a scholar then, because you're not. You're a learner, you're someone who likes hip-hop, but to be a scholar, an expert of it, you're that all the time. All the time. I had a ball coming here on the ship because I'm 6'6" in height. And the little white people on the ship, old people, they was like, you're so tall, and you're a basketball player. I love it. I said, no, I'm with the FBI. No doubt. I switch up titles all the time. I call it a cultural anthropologist. I'm a philosopher. I come up with all kinds of titles because they're only coming off of their stereotype, tall black men. You gotta be a basketball player, you know. But rather than to go into, well, why are you calling me that? I'm comfortable with who I am. So, you must be a basketball. Yes, I am, and I'll dunk on you right now. Come on. Sometimes I'll be elbowing him in the audience. Come on, let's go. Post up. But you find that you dig into a person's heart when you don't assume right at the top, or it's racism, it's sexism, and classism, ageism, whatever it is. We have a tendency to lead with our emotions first. And scholarship is very emotional, but you've learned how to control your emotions. Not emotionalist, because you'll be a dead person if you have no emotions. You have no soul if you have no emotions. No feeling for something, no empathy for anything. You have no soul. But that same empathy, that same connection with another person can get you in trouble. compassionate for the wrong people, trusting of the wrong people, because your soul is full of love and compassion for all humanity. Everyone else is not. Hip-hop scholarship has to be quick and sees through quickly what's real and what's fake. Quick. Let's go deep now into this. Hip-hop. Now that you are a scholar on hip-hop, meaning you are hip-hop, you're not studying it objectively, you're not looking at hip-hop and studying it. You are the culture itself. I am just one part of the culture speaking to the other part of the culture. If anybody was looking at us right now that didn't know this was hip-hop, they could not tell you from me. We're all here together. This is one culture speaking to itself, sort of like a planning meeting. I am not the exalted KRS-One because I'm not above you at all. We talked about this a little earlier. I'll reiterate it right here. If you think for 1 minute that I am somehow better or more than you in hip-hop, you flunk the test right there. You're not getting one of these. If you think for 1 minute, what you must now begin to think is, KRS is just the hip-hopper that came before me. That's it. That's it. Not KRS and I'm who I am trying to be. I'm who I am trying to get to where KRS is. You're going to destroy KRS. Because I am hoping and relying on someone younger than me to do what I did better. Better. Show me something I've never seen before. Don't show me me. I don't want to see me. I got enough of me. I want to see you. I want to see hip hop in other forms. And this is what we always wanted to see. Hip hop. Imagine if, when I put out the South Bronx, if I waited and said, well, this doesn't sound like what Grandmaster Flash and Melly Mel did, so I'm just going to take my career and fling it in the toilet. No. I came out, I shouted the ancestors. Way back in the days when hip-hop began with Coke La Rock, Cool Herc, and then bam. B-boys ran to the latest jam. When it got shot up, they went home and said, damn. This is the history. I shouted the ancestors first. On the other side of town was a kid named Flash. Patterson and Millbrook projects. Casanovas all over. You couldn't stop it. I'm shouting out the people in my neighborhood. Before I come out, I'm shouting the ancestors first. Then I came out. That's when I came out. I had the respect from day one. The minute that record came out, everybody that I mentioned in the record was like, yo, you got it, man. Yo, you got it, man. Yo. And why? Because this is an ancient technique. I'll give it to you now. Anytime you shout out your ancestors, you are more than the person that did. Anytime you start, find an ancestor. Just say their name one time. Malcolm X, now let's get it popping. Just find someone to say, could be your parents, grandmother, grandfather, somebody you really respected in your community as well, or in your family that wanted to see you make it. Somebody shout that out real quick. Yo, this goes out to Aunt Betty. Nobody know who Aunt Betty is. But you didn't know who Old Dirty Bastard was either. You didn't know who any of these people we shout. Yo, my man Pookie and them. Imagine, you don't know any of the people these people are shouting. But yet we would rather repeat the names of other people's ancestors and friends than our own. This is the scholarship. Change your thinking. You are hip-hop right now. Now what you got to do is study yourself. Yourself is another version of hip-hop that we need. We need. We don't need to regurgitate the same old thing. We don't grow like that. We need something new, fresh. Here's another way to do it. Here's another way to look at it. Let's advance the culture.
Genesis chapter 11, verse 10 explains the genealogy of Shem. Shem was a black man in Africa. If you repeat this fact, they can't laugh at you. Genesis 14, verse 13. Abraham
When you look at the terms hip and hop, just what the terms mean, you're not getting philosophical yet, just the term hip hop. Hip means to know, hop is movement. Awareness, movement. Consciousness and movement or action. Intelligence and action, activity. So hip and hop, or hip hop, means conscious movement, intelligence or awareness, moving, leaping, springing. I'm hip to my hop. I know why I move. I'm conscious, hip to my hop. My movements, I'm aware of what I'm doing. I'm deliberate. This is what hip hop means without anyone's opinion or anything, just the term hip and the term hop. And surprisingly enough, this term hip and hop is what we're actually doing in society. What we're actually doing in nature. Hip hop, intelligence springing up, consciousness being awake and moving on your awakeness. I am aware of my movements. This hip hop here is hip hop itself, meaning that when you study the nature of hip hop, this is not rap music we're talking about. We're talking about the consciousness that causes one to rap. Before you rap, you feel like something. Before you rap, before you break, before you do grab, before you have a point of view about the world. In fact, what makes you rap is because you have a certain point of view. You don't think like everyone else. You have a certain way you're approaching the world. This hip hop is consciousness. This is hip hop in its pure, not even pure. Let me put it this way. Hip hop does not appear anywhere in physical reality. Hip hop is not in three-dimensional space or time. Hip hop is outside of space and time. There's no time for hip hop and there's no space for it. Hip hop never enters the physical world. You can't go to hip hop. You can't wear hip hop. You can't eat hip hop. Hip hop doesn't exist as a physical thing. Hip hop, its actual existence is as a shared idea. We all share this idea called hip hop. So the first thing that hip hop is consciousness. It is our collective consciousness. It's all of our thinking together, creating this right here. And we spell it as one word, hip hop. This hip hop is this hip hop in action. When your consciousness, when our collective consciousness starts moving and acting and doing stuff, it becomes this hip hop. And we usually call this hip hop breaking, MCing, graffiti writing, DJing, beatboxing, street fashion, street language, street knowledge, and street entrepreneurialism. These are the 9 elements of hip hop. Now, in the beginning, there was first only 4 elements to hip hop, which was just these 4 here. Breaking, MCing, graffiti art, DJ. That was the beginning, which we call the core 4 elements. This is the beginning with Kool Herc, with the era of Kool Herc. Puts it this way, breaking, MCing, graffiti art, DJ. That's who used to come around and listen to Kool Herc, who is considered the father of hip hop, because he was the first one who was a b-boy, an MC, a graffiti writer, and a DJ all at the same time. And we knew her as that in the neighborhood. He also had the biggest sound system in the Bronx at the time. So Kool Herc, and I'll get into his Jamaican background in a minute, but Kool Herc is the first b-boy, MC, graffiti writer, DJ, all at the same time. Now remember, breaking already existed for like 10 years before hip-hop even began. MCing goes back to the beginnings of human history. Graffiti writing to the beginnings of human history. DJing was already, and the DJing that we use, D-E-E-J-A-Y-I-N, DJing was already in Jamaica. The way in which Kool Herc would repeat the break is the way the selector in Jamaica would keep playing the beginning of the record. And the guy would start rocking, they say, pull up! And the selector would lift the needle off the record and put it back at the beginning. And the guy would rhyme up onto, and the way they used to do it was that the MC would only rhyme the beginning of the record, and the selector had to pull the record up or the song would begin. So this is where the breaks actually begin. Kool Herc brought that technique to the Bronx when he immigrated from Jamaica in 1967. He came over with his pops and his moms. His mom was a nurse. His pops was also a mechanic, a car mechanic. Kool Herc became a car mechanic as an apprentice to his father, and through his car mechanicness, he went into DJing. He used to call this mix the merry-go-round. He used to say, say jamming with the jammers, or he used to say rocking with the rockers, jamming with the jammers, Kool Herc, 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 Herc. And that's the echo chamber. That's what it was called back in the days, an echo chamber. And you would have a tape deck that would just repeat very quickly. So he would talk and somebody would still be over there in the background. The minute he says, rocking with the rockers, rockers, jamming with the jammers, jammers, Kool Herc, 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 Herc. And you let the thing just go out, Herc, Herc, Herc. And he would start dropping the breaks. Say, this is the merry-go-round. And the merry-go-round, because the music never stops. He would just keep playing this break over and over again. But the way Herc did it was he had like 2 or 3 turntables. And he would turn one amp down and turn another one up. And that's how we go from one turntable to another when he did his merry-go-round mix. He just blended, it's like a mix. He would blend it with the turntables. So you have 3 records, and he would just keep the mix going by blending it. But the mix was not sharp. It wasn't like mixes you hear today. It was very choppy. It wasn't rhythmic. It wasn't on time. It was just like the way a record would blend into another one. And the way a record would blend into another one. It didn't have no timing. He was just blending only the breaks together. We started dancing to those breaks and eventually called ourselves B-boys and B-girls, dancing to the breaks of Kool Herc. Now, that's when this hip-hop comes into manifestation. Hip-hop. Capital H, lowercase I, lowercase p, capital H, lowercase o, lowercase p. We spell hip-hop with a capital H because it is the name of our culture. All cultures are spelled leading with a capital. Hip-hop is also a proper noun. It is a specific thing. So you spell it with a capital H when you are spelling either as one word, the collective consciousness, or as 2 words, hip-hop gets 2 H's. This is also the phonetic spelling of hip-hop. This is how hip-hop comes out of your mouth. Hip-hop, that's what it looks like. This is the culture. That's the culture. Whenever you're spelling hip-hop and you're referring to the culture of hip-hop, you spell it like this. You can spell it like this too, but this is the scholarly approach when you're talking specifically about culture. If you're talking about collective consciousness, things like feeling hip-hop, the love for hip-hop, the vision of hip-hop, you spell it in this way. Anytime you're dealing with consciousness, immaterial things, non-material things, this kind of thing, you deal with it up here. Here is where this is still immaterial. This is still non-material, but you can see hip-hop now. Now you see it through breaking and seeing graffiti on DJing, beatboxing, fashion, language, knowledge, and entrepreneurial skills. You see it now through the culture. Finally, when the culture is moving and in order, it produces products. All cultures produce products. Hip hop here is spelled in lowercase h, lowercase I, P, dash or space, lowercase h, lowercase o, lowercase p. These are the products, mostly rap music products and their related activities.
Knowledge reigns supreme. The ignorant is rich, the smithereens. What do you mean when you say I'm rebellious? Cause I don't accept everything that you're telling us. What do you sell us? The creators.
Now, once the products are produced, based on where you are, is going to be the excellence of the product. If you don't know about the collective consciousness of hip-hop, it will reflect in your product. If you don't know the culture of hip-hop, it will reflect. If you do, it will reflect. So far, these are the main terms for looking at hip-hop in terms of looking at it like you're going to be successful at it. You're going to approach hip-hop as a lifestyle, and you're going to teach hip-hop to others. This is the safest and most effective way to approach hip-hop. Now remember, this is the first 20 years of our study. This is really I should say the first 40 years, from 73 to 2013. This is the first 40 years of study. Hip-hop has 40 more years to go. This is just the standard, the beginning, the simple stuff. As scholars, you should take this further. There may be another way to spell hip-hop down here that we did not discuss today. Feel free to come up with that. Write books, speak it in rhyme, put your ideas forward. These three spellings of hip-hop gives you the nature of hip-hop itself. Remember, hip-hop is first our collective way of thinking and being that has no form, has no shape. It's not even here in material reality. It's just the way we think, our collective consciousness. When our consciousness tries to identify itself, it comes out as breaking MC, graffiti art, DJing, and the rest. That's called culture. When the culture gets itself together and tries to express itself, it comes out as CDs and T-shirts and these things. And you can even add another hip-hop here, which I'm not even going to give it a name, but the consumer, the person who buys hip-hop or is hip-hop, is also another element of hip-hop. That's just a more advanced lesson, and I'll give it to you now. There is a person who is all of this together, three of these together, which I would just call here the hip-hopper. That's all of this. The hip-hopper is the collective consciousness, expresses herself as the culture, and produces the products. Never think that hip-hop is just this, or just this, or just this. It's all of it. We're just breaking down the mechanics of it correctly, how you can engage hip-hop without depleting your soul, without being a sellout, without disrespecting your ancestors, with really getting what you're supposed to get out of the culture. This has nothing to do with a record company or signing with anybody. Don't sign nothing with nobody. Stay independent. This right here will give you a little more independence, meaning approach the culture first as consciousness. I'll go here. When you're writing rhymes, say for instance, use this model. First, forget about making a record. That's the last thing, as you can see. First, think about what everybody's thinking about. First, try to think about what everybody's thinking about. How can I link with the collective consciousness of this thing called hip-hop? Because there, I'm going to write the ill craziness. If I can get to a collective consciousness, I know what all females are thinking. I know what all males are thinking. I know what all 18-year-old females are thinking. I know what all 30-year-old men, like you just, consciousness. And once you know the consciousness of the people that you're getting ready to perform for, you make classic records. You make classic songs. Because it has nothing to do with who said this before or whatever. You just know people are sick of police brutality. Whoop, whoop, that's the sound of the police. That's it. It's collective consciousness. That's not a hard record to create. That's just this right here. Now the culture. Once you know what people are thinking, how are you going to express it? How are you going to express it? Everything is not through MC. You can express that same collective consciousness in your dance move, in your graffiti piece, in your DJ, the choice of records you play. You can get the collective consciousness off by playing a certain group of records that you know your people want to hear. But you got to be able to feel your people. Get into the feeling. You have to be this in order to access the consciousness. Nobody from the outside is ever going to understand. They're never going to get here. This is barred from them. They are way down here. They're like way down here. They're looking at the hip hopper who's producing the product, who comes from the culture, who's backed up by it. They'll never, they're just still looking at the hip hopper. Well, this guy said ABC, so I'm going to say ABC. They don't even realize the products that they can be created. They're just looking at this rapper. He did the last product, so that's what it's going to be for me. No, rise above this, and this. Get up to the cult, get up to the consciousness first. What is everybody thinking? What is everybody doing? What's on everybody's mind? Not my mind. What's on everybody's mind? And not just some people. Everybody's crying about their job. You should do a record about work. A simple record about I just got fired today. You know how big that record, y'all playing. Do you realize how big that record would be? You know what? Let me shut my mouth. Right? At the end of the day, once you know what the collective consciousness of people are, you write according to the consciousness. It's a hit record every time. I've been using that for 20 years. This is the culture here, again. And I'm just showing you how to apply this in real life. Become the people. You write better. You DJ better. You break better. When you understand what your audience is really thinking about you. Here, when you become the culture, when you start to express this consciousness, here, then you have a variety of ways to do it. Just because somebody emceed their culture doesn't mean you have to. You can break your culture. You can grab and write your culture. You can beatbox your culture. You can just wear your culture. There's all kinds of ways to get that consciousness off. We documented 9 of those ways. Finally, the products are created, and that's a million different things you can create. But one thing you should understand about hip-hop and its products is that the way to create hip-hop products, see DVDs, T-shirts, this kind of thing, material stuff, is to develop a site that can see the continuity in opposites. Things that like this and this. How do these go together? You have to be able to see that. You got to figure out how this item and this item can go together. Now you create products. You create products. You create new product if you can figure out how this chair can match with this. Everybody else says, no, the chair's a chair, that's a podium. They don't go together. No, that's a new business model. You have to be able to see the continuity in opposites. What other people think is this is the way that is and that's the way that is, that's your perfect opportunity to bring that together and you'll form a new product. This is secret knowledge and it's being recorded. This is, at least it's not going to be out for another 10 years. This knowledge is not, it's going to take people too long to figure this out. And you guys should know it today because I'm not telling you something that we read. I've lived this. This is, I don't really even have notes here. This is my life, okay? Once you know this, forget KRS-One, forget that. That's all celebrity. That's all the effects. That's here actually. That's celebrity. Put this celebrity. That's what this is. Celebrity. Okay? That's what this is. That's the bottom of the pole. And that's the least of it all. That's the effects of this. I know what my people think. That's the secret. I express it through one of these elements. That's the secret. These elements create certain products. That's the secret. These products then give me celebrity, which then take me back up to. This cycle continues. Go forward. The worst thing you could do is compare yourself, or not yourself, compare these to themselves. There's no comparisons. This is like saying inhale, exhale, exhale. There's no, you don't compare this. This is just who you are. This is called self-organization or cultural organization. I am organizing myself in this way so that I can get the best out of my presentation in hip-hop. This is my best presentation. I'm just organizing myself in this way. Now, move forward with this in mind. When you colonize a people, your interest is not in them. Your interest is in their goods. So when you conquer a people, you have two choices. One, you have to commit an act of genocide. Either you wipe them out completely, complete act of genocide so that you can take over the resources of the land. Or you kill the warrior class of these people and you enslave the children and the elderly. This is just war history. Tell a different story about yourself, you go up in value. Or tell a different story about yourself and you can go down in value. What stories are you saying about yourself? Someone says, what do you do? Yo, listen, I'm the greatest MC out here. I don't know about the rest of these dudes, but I'm the dopest dude out here. Now, if you really want to see me, what you need to do is book me. Here's my website. Here's my deal. Here's what it is. I'm going to be the greatest. I am the greatest. Matter of fact, we call that ego. We call that overconfident. We call that full of yourself. We call that everything that it's not. Change the story about yourself and your value goes up. Here's a real history with hip-hop's consciousness. Two dudes are standing on the corner. Two dudes are standing, both of them are broke, got nothing. Both of them are broke, got nothing. They're standing on the corner.
KRS-One, look, I'm off the top. I put rappers down like that Nike sign. You gotta understand, man, Nike sign. Put the camera down so they can feel my rhyme.
One dude turns to the other dude and goes, I'll keep on bringing and singing until your ears is ringing and steaming, gleaming and dreaming true. I'm singing with meaning. The guy turns to him and goes, that was whack. That was garbage. What do you think you are? Both together, broke, no money, nothing. No celebrity, nothing. One guy says, I'll keep on bringing and singing until your ears is ringing. This guy has the power to either say, you're garbage, and they both remain broke. Because now he's garbage, so what are you sitting next to? Who's garbage? The guy says his rhyme again. Here's the other part. Yo, that was hot. Yo, dude, that was the greatest rhyme ever. Yo, do it again, man. Word? Yo, I'll keep on bringing and singing until your ears is ringing. Yo, that was the greatest rhyme. Yo, man, you really good. Now, that one acknowledgement that this dude is good. One person acknowledges another person. Value goes up. This is how he did it. Nobody says this because they wasn't there. None of the books, none of the authors, they weren't there. I remember when we were sitting around broke with nothing. My man is the one that said, yo, your rhymes is dope. And when he said that, I stood up. Because he said it. Now we both walking down the street with value. What's the value? He thinks I'm great. Because he says I'm great, I'm great. Because I'm not saying I'm great. He says I'm great. So I got an objective opinion from a subjective front. He's feeling what I'm feeling. But if he disses me, downs me, doesn't recognize me, we both stay poor. The minute he says, yo, you're the greatest, you're good, you sound great, it don't even matter if another person thinks it. You are already great because your man said so. This is hip hop. The American government didn't want to give us nothing. My whole generation was labeled X. The whole thing, X, Generation X. We don't even know y'all. They didn't want to give us nothing. What did we do? We turned to each other. We said, yo, you hot. No, you hot. No, you hot. Nah, you bad. Nah, you the best. That's what hip hop did in the beginning. We looked at each other and said, yo, you beautiful. Nah, man, you beautiful. Yo, you smart. Nah, you smart. Oh, man, you. And we started our own little deal, complimenting each other. Complimenting each other. A simple thing like this. Simple. Just, yo, I like that. I think you really good. Boom. The person now, not self-esteem, not that. Real value. Let me even go further. So two people are standing there, bro. One guy kicks a rhyme. The other person acknowledges the rhyme as good. Two people now have value. This person has value because he's standing next to somebody with talent. And this person's talent has just been verified by the person he's standing next to. Now the two of y'all walk into the bank. Hey, check this out. My man right here got the illest rhyme. Yo, spit your rhyme. I'll keep on bringing and singing until your ears is ringing. Yo, you heard that? Talking to the bank officer. You heard that? That's hot, ain't it? And the bank officer don't know. Bank officer don't know what's hot, what's not, what's good, what's bad, what's nothing. He has to take your word for it. I love working with corporate America. I do. They're so stupid. At the end of the day, they don't know. They don't know. They don't know. They don't know. They don't know what's good, what's bad, what's nothing. So if you just say, yo, he's the one, right? Yo, hip, ah! The person has to agree because they don't know. You're not hearing me. You're not hearing this. This has been Game 101. This is Hustle 101. This is it right here. If Barack Obama came here today, President Barack Obama stepped in today, had a piece of paper in his hand, and just left it up here like this, and walked out. Everybody was trying to get that piece of paper. Yeah. Why? Why does the paper go up? No, it's the person holding the paper. You believe in their value. Yeah. And why do you believe it? Because they told a story. A story, not the truth, not their biography. They told a story about themselves, which gave them value. When they touch anything now, it has value. This is what hip hop was. This is what this hip hop was before it became this corporate. It was first, I'm hip hop. So the mainstream says ripped jeans are you thrown out. Hip hop said, no, ripped jeans is now the new fashion. When I was growing up in the 70s, if you rip your jeans, they had patches. You had iron-on patches. You rip your jeans. Oh, no, I'm not wearing ripped jeans. You put patches over it. And you iron the patches on over the ripped jeans. Hip-hop came out and said, we can't even afford patches. We're going to rock these. We ripped here, so I'm going to rip it here, here, and here. That's hip-hop. We did that first. Everybody else was on designer jeans, Sassoon, Jordan. We took the cheap jeans, Lee and Levi's, rip them up, wear them baggy. We was out like this. But what did the mainstream say? Oh, that's worthless, valueless. The rags we used to get, the hip hops used to put on their heads in the 90s. These rags, they cost 25 cents for 12 of them in the 70s. Now you can't get one of them for under $12, $15.
Damn.
They selling them same rags, those same mechanics rags that you see the Crips and Bloods and everybody wearing these same rags. Them rags used to cost 25 cents for 12. The minute the Crips start wearing them, a few rappers in the video start wearing them, them same rags that was 12 went up $15, $20, $30 now. People start putting stuff on them $50 now for a rag.
Hip means to know, it's a form of intelligence. To be hip is to be update and relevant. Hop is a form of movement. You can't just observe a hop, you gotta hop up and do it.
Your opinion doesn't matter when you want money. I'll say it again. Your opinion don't matter if you want money. If you want money, you gotta be right here. I know what everybody's thinking. And I know what everybody ain't thinking. This bank officer is not hip hop. So all I gotta do is walk in with 2 or 3 people who are. And let us say about one person how great this person really is. And you don't know. You don't know how great this is. That's why you have so many artists on the radio today that have no talent. It's true. It's true. They have no talent. They're not real to anything they're doing. But what they know is what I just told you. You don't have to have talent.
Come on now.
To be on the radio. Take it. No, it's
hard to take, dude. Come on now.
You ain't got to have no talent.
What is that, hip hop?
Anymore.
Yes.
That's hip hop?
No.
Not having no damn talent?
It's not this.
That's
It's not this. No, it's not. It's not the culture. No, it's not. But come on down here.
I don't want to go down.
I'm talking about this money. I'm talking about this money. That's it.
Dude.
I'm just talking about the money. I know where you at.
Don't hurt me now.
No.
You're killing me.
I'll come back to you. You stay up here with the consciousness. You stay here with the culture. See, this reward here, this is where it all begins. But wait a minute. We do exist here. Hip hop is the largest, the biggest seller. Y'all don't know this. Do you realize that in the music industry, hip hop is the largest producer of CDs out of all the music in the world? Not just sell more. I mean, the plastics companies and the DVD manufacturers print about 70%, like it was more than half actually. I would be modest and say 60% of all CD sales. Like, I'm not talking about you already printed your music. So you bought these CDs to sell your music. So from the manufacturer, the music genre that is selling or buying the most CDs in the world is hip hop. What you gotta do is the minute you get the mic in your hand and the crowd sees that you got the mic in your hand, boom, mic in your hand, go right in on them. Hey, right now the camera's looking right in my face. I'm doing it like this, like I'm floating in space. I'm live off the top of my head. This is what I do all day. I'm alive and not dead. It's freestyle. My skills is insane. I go off the top like JFK's brain. See, you saw that, didn't you? No talent, no culture, no principles. Hip hop is there too. It's whack, yes it is. But this hip hop runs the mainstream. Runs it, not even part.
Do we have to accept that?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, you don't. No, you don't. You never have to accept any of that. But you got to be aware of where your culture is.
Okay, I'm aware.
Be aware.
So I'm aware.
But it's hard though. I'm not going to front on that. This is what gives me the ability to look at Nicki Minaj, for instance. I just called her name out real quick. This gives me the ability to look at Nicki and say, no, that's a good MC. Leave her alone like that. Why? Because I understand the natures of hip hop. She may have started here. Maybe. You don't know who she is, what game she played. But her image at least starts in the realm of product. I'm trying to sell the most amount of CDs in the way that mainstream sells anything these days. I'm trying to just move in and move my product. Now her culture may not be hip hop. Her consciousness may not be hip hop. But her products definitely are. As a matter of fact, there is hip hop, lowercase, not culture, just the products of the culture. And in some cases, this hip hop here is even created by other cultures. Like for instance, other cultures bring to hip hop their dirty laundry, and and I'll say they're clean laundry. Other cultures bring into hip hop what they're really suffering from themselves, and we're now calling it hip hop when it's not really hip hop. It's some other culture with its own problems bringing it into hip hop just because somebody rapped. You say, oh, they hip hop, and they're bringing it in. There is that as well here as well, and this is important to point out. I gotta point this out because a lot of us who do exist up here, who do have some kind of principles, we do forget this though sometimes. And it would be great if a sister like yourself operated here with this consciousness. It would be great. But first, and before you even clap to say anything, that's hard to do, okay? One of the reasons I'm not signed to anyone is because I can't live here.
There you go.
This is that song. Let me say that at the top. I'm giving scholarship. I'm not giving my opinion here yet. I'm not giving my theory. I'm just telling you hip hop, its nature as it stands to us today. We are here. We do put out rap product. We do put out CDs. We do have DVDs. We have t-shirts. We have all of this. But this world doesn't have principles, virtues, any loyalty to anything. The loyalty is to the product. That's it. That's it. And it's here that these hip hops become corrupt. It's at this level that you lose your consciousness and forsake your culture. I stay here, and I suffer for it. Okay? That's the first part you gotta not understand, but in this case, I guess overstand. You gotta sort of live this understanding. Where if you're gonna stay in your collective consciousness, you're not gonna be called for the big tours. You're not gonna be on MTV. There's no Grammy coming for you. There's no mainstream accolades. But you gotta be cool with that. And here's the funny thing, I'll say this honestly. I talk about sellouts and people giving up their culture, but this is only a matter of opinion, really. Because at times, not only was I here, like saying, I sold 1 million records one year, I don't know any of these years. I Got Next. 1997, I Got Next. Sold 1 million copies of I Got Next. Okay, I was here. Now, I am able to come down to this level. But the people here can't come up to this level.
Exactly.
The gods can come down. But the average humans can't go up. This is the trick. So I come down, and when I come down, I suffer down here. I suffer down here. And I do. I ain't even front. I don't like being down here. But every once in a while, I do have to come down here. And here's why. It's usually not for myself. And this is just another piece, smaller piece. It's not for me. Most of the time it's for my family. Or for other people that I may respect or have some loyalty to, some admiration. That's the only thing. My being never says, I need to be down here. My being never says that. But the fact that I love my kids, the fact that I may want something material, even in the spirit world, I may say, no, I want the new Range Rover. Yeah. I think I can have it. I can have anything I want in this consciousness. So let's stop playing games with it. Test it to see if it's true. Most spiritual people never test their spiritual abilities. They live in a universal mind, but never ask the universe for anything. Never ask him for anything. They just live there. The universe is just there. You know, the universe is like a mirror. So it's like if you stand there, the universe stand there. You know, the minute you go up, the universe instantly is going up. The second, it's like a mirror. Anything you do in the mirror is instant. Same thing with the universe. Anything you do in the universe, it is instantly doing it to you. So here, I can be here all day, but the people that surround me may not be here. That's what self-sacrifice. Now, come on now. Now we're into Christianity. Let's move over to Christianity. You know, cross is an acronym. Cross, constant reminder of self-sacrifice. The cross. Now you gotta bear the cross. That's when you jump down here, all the way down to here. This is painful here. It's what you gotta do to maintain celebrity? This is painful. But if you come from up here, you have a place to escape to. You even have protection down here. Because you're never going to go past the collective consciousness of the people. That's your virtue. This is where you live. So the minute they start talking about, listen, we have a thong we need you to put on, you immediately, wait a minute. I'm not going to imagine the person who's not resting on this. They get told down here, I got a Bozo the Clown suit I want you to put on and parade in front of the TV. It's Bozo the rapping clown. And because you want celebrity.
There you go.
Bing! You go. You have no protection from the culture. Nope. No virtues from the collective consciousness. No ancestors, nothing. Now, that's not a person that you would look down on and say, oh, you evil hip-hop yourself. This person is trapped.
Industry puppet.
This is word. Look at this. This is not a person to look down on or to judge and say, oh, their music is whack, it's destroying hip-hop. No, it's not. Hip-hop's right here. Hip-hop is never going to be destroyed.
They're like the army guys.
Speak that. Speak that, like the army guys.
You just stole the army guys.